Do you think child marriage, like a 50-something-year-old guy marrying a 6-year-old child, is good for humanity?
The way I learned about this is, I'll say something personal. My grandmother, my mother, and me, we were all molested. So this was a very dark topic to discuss. The way I look at it is, I would never allow my daughter to marry anyone older like that. The parents will decide what happens to their child. It's not compulsory for you to allow that. And if it's the end of the world and there's no other way for humanity to go forward and my child is there, maybe that'd be the only situation where I as a parent would allow that.
Okay, I'm very sorry. I'm sorry for what you experienced.
And I know you're gonna say, like, okay, but the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, did that. We're not allowed to criticize him in that way. Who knows why Allah allowed it? And I've heard all kinds of arguments. I read a book on her. She was, pretty wise lady, pretty cool. But for me and my daughter, I would never, if anyone even asked, they would be executed by me. No one can touch my daughter. No one can ask for my daughter.
You went through something that is bad, and I feel very sorry about it. And you want to protect your daughter, your child, from going through something similar. And you are talking about preventing evil in the world. But at the same time, you are advocating for a system in which parents are allowed to give off their children without age restrictions to older men in marriage. So you are advocating for a system and allowing for a system in which parents are allowed to give their children away in a situation where they would be abused in such a way that you yourself cannot stomach it, and you wouldn't allow it for your own children. In Farid's words, it's not rape when the parents allow it. Because
remember, atheism as a whole doesn't disavow that either, or liberalism.
It doesn't have to be. Atheism doesn't have any rules. The issue is, with atheism, for example, I can sit down here and I can find my way and weigh the pros and cons and see what is healthy and what is unhealthy and all that. The issue is, we're not talking about something that does not forbid something. We're talking about something that explicitly allows that certain thing. You are not allowed to make this illegal or to condemn this because your religion allows it and your Prophet Muhammad practiced it, which is why people like Daniel Hikichu today say this is a wholesome value.
What I've learned about it from anthropologists is that it was a different time period, and if you're not too many people around, you're poor, resources are low, you have this option, but it's not forced upon you. You don't have to if you don't want to allow it.
But you think we should prevent evil, but at the same time you are, as said, advocating for a system in which this cannot be disallowed. It is allowed. It is practiced. Parents can make that. You may not want to do this to your own child because you think it is disgusting and horrible, but your neighbor who is a Muslim might allow their 5-year-old daughter to get married to some 50-year-old guy.
Even in America, if my neighbor does something, I cannot prevent them. I can't prevent anyone else from doing anything, regardless of their religion. If a Jewish rabbi wants to do that weird circumcision ritual that they do, where they suck off the foreskin of the baby, I can't stop the rabbi from doing that, or the Jewish family from doing that to their newborn boy. All I can do is say, this is my daughter. I have full authority over her. She will get married when she's mentally capable. She's had her period.
This is a big double standard. If you live in a society where child marriage is illegal, where it is banned, but if Islam was brought to that society, then Islam would lift that ban and would make it possible for little children to be married to old guys with the permission of their parents. This is something that Islam would bring. So Islam would actually bring something destructive that even makes you feel very uncomfortable. Are you aware of that?
I'm aware of that, and I'm also aware that, like, even, the French kings, they married 14-year-olds, 12-year-olds. The age was very young previously because people died much sooner.
Of course, and they make mistakes. They were wrong. Yeah. We don't have to deflect to other things and say, well, they did it too. So.
No, I know what you're saying. That they did it too.
We acknowledge that it's bad.
But the point is that each mother can just say no, and I don't have to advocate them and help them. I don't have to facilitate their child marriage. Is my point.
Okay, but you're supporting a system in which this is okay.
Well, I love Allah. That's what I care about. I love Allah and I'm not a champion of child marriage. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
That is not consistent with your entire idea, which you have advocated for from the beginning, which is that Islam brings a system which gets rid of the evil. Because Islam, in this case, brings the evil that you are talking about. The issue is whether they have to or don't have to is completely besides the point. You know, I don't care if people have to do this or don't have to do this. The issue is that Islam provides a system in which this is allowed. If we look at child marriage, if we look at a relationship between a little child and an old man, the research on this is abundant. It is harmful to a little child. It is psychologically harmful. It is physically harmful. It harms the sexual, the reproductive system of a child. It is harmful in so many different ways. It is destructive. A child is not ready until a very late age to handle such a thing. But you would advocate for a system in which this is allowed. So the system that you are bringing would be harmful, really harmful, objectively harmful in this case, to the child, to the individual.